Tsukui-mi. This is a hollowing out of the midsection or stomach. I will pull my midsection rearward as my front end rear foot slide backwards, and I round my back. Evade the knife strike. I'm going to do a downward block. I'm going to do the Surisage. So as I do this all in conjunction, it's going to keep me away from the knife. Tobi zenpo kaiten ukemi. This is a mouthful. This is basically your front airfall. So notice with Uke on the ground, I'm going to grab under his belt on his back and roll off his back so that I can come through the air and fall onto the mat, slapping with my hand, my leg, and the sole of my foot. Notice they're at a 45-degree angle. The knee is up on the other side foot, and I want to make sure that I keep my head off the mat, tucking my chin to my chest so that I'm not hitting the back of my head on the ground. Also curve your straight leg foot upwards so that you're not hitting the ankle bone when you slap with your leg. Slap with your hand a split second before your legs to disseminate the force upon impact. Ryotedori Shumatsu dosa, a fixing movement exercise as opposed to a finishing movement or after class exercise that's normally referred to in the Japanese language. So with the fixing movement, we're using our bottom hand in the scoop or the tai no tenkan ho version as the other hand raises up in Suryage, drawing him in towards me as the other fixes a point on the post and rotates him with tenkan. Classically, you start in Gyaku Hanmi, but we start in Ai Hanmi because Uke's in a more strong and balanced position when grabbing. Ryotedori renzoku sotowa. This is a continuous or consecutive movement of the outside circle. We're using this to escape the wrist for the two-hand grab. Start in Ai Hanmi because that ensures Uke is strong and balanced, and we perform tenshinashi. That's the 8th or quarter turn. Now, as my hand goes up, I'm going to make sure that I release it by flinging it downward from the outside, and then the other one should be moving in conjunction with that so that I can create almost a double movement Nikyo. One's going up, one's going down. I'm going to re-grab the wrist so that I can perform Hijishime or a Nikyo or any of the other control movements. I want to get off his center line so that I'm not in front of him as a threat with that free hand. One over the outside, then the other over the outside, and turn into that side. Aikidome. This is a stop hit for tackles or rushes towards your body. So you're going to place your two palms together, also hitting with both palms in around the eye socket and sinus cavity area. You almost create a suction with your palms around the eyes. I can use my whole body to hit. You can see how jarring it is for his body. This is going to happen on his head. So be careful because you can injure the cervical vertebrae of Uke. Application-wise, you're normally going to step forward and into the attack, but for practice, we usually stop or move backwards as we buffer the strike so we're not hitting with full force on Uke's face. As you can see, after the hit, we can move into many waza. Katatedori Kagi empi. This is the single wrist grab escape to the horizontal elbow or hooking elbow. Notice with this, you're going to do the same Hazushi as you did before, but with your free hand, you're going to grab his lapel and pull him into you, creating a sense of off balance in Uke. So as you grab, you pull him into you, and your escape leads right into the horizontal elbow to his jaw. Be aware that you want to turn your front foot inside so that you're not putting unnecessary torque on your knee. And as you pull him in, you hit him with the atemi. Yoko geri, or side kick. Notice we start in Sankaku Tai and we turn our hip and heel to face the target, and we bring the knee up towards the chest and thrust out like a piston. Bring the knee up and then angle your body to the target area that you want to kick, leaning back for counterbalance. Target areas tend to be the leg, typically the knee and ankle or instep, but you can also kick to the waist, solar plex, or even the face, depending on flexibility. We blade our foot slightly and drive with our heel to the target area. Just make sure your shoulder, hip, and heel are in alignment and you drive from the knee. Aiki kuzushi uchi no Hiza geri. This is your off balance and pull around knee spear. Here you can see we step in with Aikidome to intercept. Notice the knee is a thrusting knee. It's more like a straight punch than an uppercut. When we block, we intercept near the bicep and forearm and neck and shoulder. And we will grab both areas and pull around by doing a tenshin step. Push in on the bicep, simultaneously pulling down on his head, guiding his body with your step. Your soto, or the outside variation, not needed for testing. Maegeri Surisage tenkan. This is the front kick capture. When we say tenkan, we mean turning, and when it comes to te sabaki, that just means I'm turning my hand over. Downward deflection, and then raise your hand up in line with your shoulder in order to grab the kick. Control his near shoulder with your other hand to lift, pull, or push. And the variation against mawashi geri, or the round kick. Shomenuchi Hiki Ude-soto. This is your outside arm drag. Deflect with Suri and throw an uppercut atemi. From there, you'll be in the position to pull the arm at the bicep and shoulder down across your body. You can drag it all the way down to the wrist to regrab, or you can still keep control of the upper arm, depending on what technique you're going to do. For testing, we'll do a tenkan step to get out of the way and then drag the arm in front of our body, pulling him off balance. There's up quite a few opportunities for a lot of the throws and joint locks that we do. We grade on the deflection, the arm drag, and the turning. Okuritsuki Kudaki Uke. This is your wing block destruction. We're doing it off the jab. Not always the most efficient, but for learning, we're going to do it. Use the knuckles of your fist in the shape of our wing block to hit into the soft areas of the hand and forearm. Notice you can hit the thumb, the wrist, all those different areas, and you're going to sandwich it between your other parrying hand. Kosatedori Nikyo sumiotoshi. This is the cross hand grab. Nikyo wrap to diagonal corner drop. We bring it straight up, pushing on the index knuckle in towards him so that we can bend the wrist and elbow into a Z motion. Drag outward and upward as we step offline, and we're going to wrap the whole of the hand over his wrist. Notice that the Z shape needs to be apparent, and you need to force his pinky towards his nose. It's very similar to like a sword cut or a shomen. Notice I'm raising up and back down on the forearm and wrist. So it's very much like the sword cut. Place your hand so that it can't escape. You're going to cut up and over, and then diagonally, as you step offline, cut him down into the corner, dropping his elbow. That's what's going to make him fall off to the corner, by guiding his elbow down in that diagonal angle. Important point for the Nikyo is to make sure that you have pain compliance through trapping his hand and pressing it back towards him and having his pinky towards his nose. Munedori Udegaeshi. This is your single lapel grab and arm reversal throw. Place the back of your hand inside his wrist. Hit with an atemi at the lower or midline. And as I come up, I almost cinch the elbow in towards me. I will take a false grip with the same side hand under his ulna, or the underside of his arm, and create an A-frame with the second one reinforcing over the top of that hand. So to reiterate, for testing, we will be throwing for this technique. A key point is to twist in like Yoko Furumi to get the cinched elbow, and then to twist back to throw. Use your Senkaku Ash step. From this angle, you can see how I suck it in and move that shoulder backwards as the other shoulder moved forward to clasp the A-frame, and then I'm able to take him down. Yokomenuchi Hijiate. This is the side strike to the neck, elbow hit throw. I start off in Gyaku Hanmi, And as he steps forward, I just take a small step with the front foot and pivot as you perform Aiki Sage Hemi in towards his face. Set the throw up with Hiki Ude no Uchi, or inside arm drag. Grab under the armpit, tricep, or elbow, depending on what throw that we're doing, but we're going to always pull him past us as we either enter or control the arm in order to enact our technique. As you pull the arm from one side to the other, you're going to open up your front foot in the Sankaku-ashi footwork as you step through, and you're going to hit at the armpit or tricep for this one, just so that you don't hurt uke, but typically this is going to be an actual hit to the elbow. Swariwaza Kyoken Kata. This is your 9-count form kata on your knees. Notice the first one starts with a draw cut. The next 7 are actually going to be downward cuts, starting with north, south, east, and west, and then following to the corners, along with the uke nagash style blocks in between. Then we bring it to hasogamai, across the eye line sweep, and then a kiai, or spirit shout or yell, coming from the diaphragm to finish the movement. And then of course we do chiburi and noto, which is the shaking of the blood and the resheathing. So here we're going to see a close-up of how you draw the sword. Traditionally your thumb is on the suba, or the round guard, which we do not have shown here. Be aware the web of the thumb should be grasping towards the bottom of the sword. As you draw the sword out, make sure that the kisaki, or the tip of the blade, ends up right in front of your center in a triangular position. The thumb clicks the sword out of the saya or scabbard. Start to turn it midway through, and then you can release the blade. Draw the sword about eye level in the triangular position. Make sure you step with your left knee. In Iaido, they use the right leg, but we use the left leg in Aikido so that we can immediately turn behind us for the south position. I'm not going to be a stickler on the first test, how you draw the blade. Just do your best to follow the guidelines. But if you do happen to use a mock blade with a scabbard, then you can work on drawing it correctly. Here's a close-up, and you can see the angle of the hands on top of the hilt. Make sure one is under the suba, the other one is flush with the bottom at an angle, and the web of the thumbs are over the top so that if you hit something hard, it doesn't actually put the force into the bones of the thumb. It's like wringing a towel when you cut. You're going to squeeze in and bring your elbows in and down even further for that force. Don't flare your elbows. Relax the shoulders, keep the wrists supple, and make sure that when you cut, you draw in and use your center and a slight drop of your body if needed in order to finish the cut. Stop it on a dime here, control everything. Stop it about in line with your center. Don't let it go past it like in this example. Here's a close-up of uke nagash. Now technically, you actually want to cut up and under the wrist of uke as you do uke nagash, and then let it roll back and deflect the blade in a triangular posture there. So there are 4 elements to this kata, and it's nukitsuke, kiritsuke, chiburi, and noto. Basically, it's the draw, the cut, the clean, and the sheath. So in our kata, make sure you start with the left knee, then the right knee, left knee, right knee, left knee, right knee. And of course, the knee is up when you're doing the full cuts. Don't forget the uke nagashes in between if possible. And then when you do the haso to the cut across the eye line, using choyaku shiko. There's a lot here, so I'll let you focus on the video. Notice here on Choyaku Shiko, I pull that knee and hip open and step forward with the knee still up. But when I do the Chiburi, I put the knee down, and as I noto, then I pull that knee back. This is the warm-up kata for the 22 jo. So this consists of 4 distinct moves and then a reset for the beginning of the first count. We start in left sangakutai with our left hand level with our center, and that way when it comes up, it comes right to the end of the jo, or you can use your hand to the top of the jo. Both of these are acceptable, but for the actual kata warm-ups, you're going to use the back. You can use the front hand in order to deflect any incoming blows away from center. So just be aware of how to use the jo. You can play with it a little bit, but this is just getting you used to the feel of the jo. So your first movement, bring it up to the rear hand and thrust straight out towards the throat and face. The front hand will have the palm open as it slides through and guides it forward. And you drive with the rear hand, that's your power hand. Bring it around the back of the neck, stretching the front arm out, and you're going to create a yokomen around the neck as you step forward, and control the tip of the jo pointing at uke, and then tuck it under your arm, and then bring it back to the start position for the first count of the 22 jo kata that you will actually learn in the next portion of the test. Here's a close-up of the tuck under and restart for movement number 1. And now the full 5 movements total. Thanks for visiting Aikido's Edge. Like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you'd like to see on the next series.